Another one of the things that we have to do in order to keep our business a business is tracking our business miles. It's really important that you don't wait until the end of the year for this. Again, disclaimer, it's really important that you do consult your own CPA or your own lawyer for legal advice. I'm not an accountant and I don't play one on the internet. All right, back to business miles. Business miles are a tax deduction that many people actually forget to take, or they just don't think it's really worth it. But it is actually really worth it, especially in a business like selling on Amazon if you're using retail arbitrage, because you're going to be in your car quite a bit and you're going to be driving all over from store to store. Keeping track of the miles that you drive for your new business is one of the easier ways to reduce your tax bill at the end of the year. No one likes talking about taxes and nobody likes paying taxes. We all want to keep our tax deductions up as much as we can, and business miles are one of the easiest ways to do that. The key here is that you must be tracking the miles daily, not just using a total number. So you can't just come up at the end of the year and say that you drove 10,000 miles. You have to be able to prove that you actually drove those, and they really want to see a log showing all of those on a daily basis. Current rates are almost 60 cents per mile driven. So as you can imagine, they add up really fast. It's going to change every single year, so that's why I'm not giving an exact rate right now, but I will put a link below so that you can see what the current rate is. So what's considered a business trip? Well, it's quite a lot whenever you're selling on Amazon, actually, but in summary, it's any time that you're driving your car somewhere that's business related. For example, if you're picking up supplies, you're sourcing inventory, you're dropping off shipments, you're going to business meetings, or maybe even an Amazon conference. All things like that are considered a business trip. And we also recommend that you try and make all of your trips business related. So picking your kids up from school, why not stop at the store and source some inventory at the same time? So there's a few ways that you can easily track your mileage. Like I said, mileage does need to be tracked on a per trip basis, so it's important that you find a method that works for you so that you can easily track that mileage. One of the easiest ways is to use a mileage tracking app. There's one I like called Mile IQ, and it does start off for free. It tracks so many trips per month for free. And the way that it works is you just start your app when you get in the car and stop it, and it will track your mileage for you automatically. The next is using a mileage logbook. It's very simple. You just write down where you're going and how many miles you drove. The third is that you could use a monthly planner. You could just jot it in a calendar every time that you go somewhere. The main thing is that you need to show the total miles driven and the purpose of the trip. So you could simply write 25 miles sourcing inventory at Walgreens, something like that, so that you can keep track of what it is that you were doing and how far you were driving. Now, it's also important that you keep track of your odometer readings. You need to have your car's beginning odometer reading and the odometer reading at the end of the year. Now, if you're starting in the middle of the year, you're just going to do whatever it is at that time, and at the end of the year, you will start over for the new year. Now, like I mentioned before, mileage does add up quickly. So I want to give you an example of a possible scenario. So let's say that on January 1st, your odometer read 20,000 miles. I'm going to keep all the numbers really simple. On December 31st, your odometer reads 35,000 miles. Based on your own mileage log, you drove 10,000 miles just for your business. This meant that you have another 5,000 miles of personal drives. So you get credit for all 10,000 of those business miles. So when it's time to file the Schedule C on your tax return, you're going to know that you can take a deduction of 10,000 miles at the current standard mileage rate. Since we're using the rate of 60 cents just to keep things simple, even though it may be a little bit more, it may be a little bit less depending on the year, at 60 cents, we're looking at a deduction of $6,000. So as you can see, it adds up pretty quickly.